Good evening, workshoppers. It's been 2 weeks, hasn't it? Well, going through and coming off all the cool info and things that we had in the last episode and some hopes and predictions, we are unfortunately kind of in a holding pattern. And so I'd like to welcome you all to episode 211, Waiting Lobby Loading, because that is pretty much what we're doing at the moment in terms of the Diablo community. There are a couple things to talk about and some things that we continue to be hopeful for, but in tonight's episode, we'll be going through and talking about we got the announcement of the final Diablo 2 ladder reset before Diablo 2 Resurrected launches. And we also have got some thoughts on Diablo Immortal Alpha. How much longer do we have? And then from there, when's the Diablo 3 PTR going to start? And when are we going to get the Diablo 4 development blog? And, just to kind of hop into things, these past couple of weeks since the last episode, I actually haven't had as much time to go through and play Diablo Immortal. I still go and try and get a little bit of time in here and there, like on the commutes and such. But unfortunately, work has been, work. And so I've been doing a lot of that. That's been taking up some of my time. And in addition, like I've mentioned on some of the other episodes, I've got that Warhammer tournament going through and coming up. So I've been spending some time, reading and going through and trying to scribble out lists and such. So even though this is actually my first official 40k tournament that I've ever been to. I have been to Warhammer Underworlds tournaments before. This is the first one for 40k, and I guess I wanted to count, even though I fully expect to lose because this is only going to be my second game of 9th edition, maybe third if I can get in a game this weekend, having played. So I'm strong on fundamentals, but there's a lot of more of the abstract concepts that you just can't pick up and read. You can learn tactics, but the actual placement of models on the board and how you're supposed to go through in flanks, it's very, very similar to StarCraft or any other RTS game where you can learn build orders and things, but you still need to learn to control the units and have that flow of the timing. You're not just ticking down. So got some of that stuff. Then that honestly, so the time I would normally set aside for regular gaming has been taken up with that, just trying to polish strategies, finalize my list, and a little bit of building and painting. I honestly these past 2 weeks I have been slacking considerably on the building and the painting of the models, and I need to get my ass in gear because I only have until. Well, I have until the 18th, because the tournament itself is on the 19th. So I've got until the 18th in order to get everything painted for that list. And so that's one of those ones where I kind of tweaking my lists, and then it's just, oh, maybe I could do this. Oh, I'm never going to get that model painted in time. I can't get that done in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, so... we gotta make some changes to the list because that's not getting finished. And then after that, I've got another tournament for Age of Sigmar coming up in August, and that is one that I am a lot more looking forward to. I'm more of a fantasy guy than a sci-fi guy. I love sci-fi and all that other types of stuff, but hey, Diablo is my jam. I love Warcraft and Final Fantasies. I grew up on Final Fantasies and RPGs and all that other types of things. So that my heart really, unfortunately, really goes to fantasy more so than sci-fi. And Age of Sigmar has the new edition that's going to be coming out, which, oddly enough, Longshot, the pre-order for AOS 3.0. The new rules will go on pre-order June 19th with release on July 3rd. So keep that in mind, Longshot, because it's going to be useful information for you, I'm sure, to spam in chat. But yeah, okay. So, that's kind of like the my weeks in gaming with not so much Diablo related content to go through and discuss. we can go through and move on. Obviously, it's been a quiet couple of weeks. There hasn't really been too many big things, but the biggest of them actually came from just last week, where we had a confirmation from Pez Adam Fletcher, where he went and said over on the Diablo 2 forums, if I can bring up the browser scene here, it is not wanting to load. Give me 1 second. Sorry. It, for whatever reason, just does not want to load the web page. There we go. Man, tonight has been nothing but technical issues. But, so, Pez Radar went through onto the classic Diablo 2 forums to go through and announce that there will be a new Diablo 2 ladder reset happening on June 11th. Just a couple days from the recording of this episode. But one of the little things that kind of makes that a little bit more interesting is the fact that we embark on our final ladder reset for before Diablo 2 Resurrected launches worldwide. We expect this ladder reset to occur in the afternoon of June 11th Pacific Standard Time. Please note that we will continue to have ladder resets for Diablo 2 Classic in the future. Diablo 2 Resurrected will be on a separate cadence for ladder resets. We'll have more information on that as we get closer to launch. See you in Sanctuary. Now, that one is very, very interesting, and I guess a little bit telling. Because if you're not familiar with it, Diablo 2 has had a pretty set cadence for, damn near a decade now, and when it goes through to have its ladder resets. While there was instances where it could be a couple of months or it could be a couple of years, for I want to say it was like 2012-ish, 2011. It was right around the time that Diablo 3 launched that they kind of went through and stuck to a 6-month cycle for the D2 ladder resets, and that generally happened in June, July, and November, December. So with this ladder reset going through and happening on June 11th, that would put, normally we would have the next ladder reset, kind of early, mid-December. And it gives us a little bit of a window for the Diablo 2 Resurrected launch. Although, I mean, they've already said that it's going to be coming in 2021, and you can't really go much further in 2021 than December. So it doesn't quite narrow it down all that much, but at least it's a nice confirmation that it is something that is going to be releasing soon. TM? Within, I guess, a 6-month window. That's definitely a Blizzard soon. We still got that Blizzard soon going on that one. But hopefully that does mean that we might be seeing some more from tests or another round of alpha, that we might be able to go through and get further into the game. More classes, more acts. Maybe we'll have access to the full thing. Maybe we'll get access to multiplayer, so that we can actually play with one another on the and get to test out the BattleNet features. I'm looking forward to that. I still can't believe how much I was surprised by the technical alpha. I've played thousands of hours of Diablo 2. I think it's Diablo 2 is right up there in terms of my overall play time, with like World of Warcraft and Diablo 3. And so I kind of was, originally my thoughts were, it'd be fun. It'll be fun to go back and play the game, but I don't main Diablo 2 now. I'm not gonna main Diablo 2 when Resurrected comes out. Oh, past Neinball. How fickle those thoughts were. But yeah, actually going through and getting my hands on the alpha, it was amazing. How I was blown away by just how much those little graphics upgrades made the game feel so much better. Like it's like, because since it's like literally the same engine, like how good Diablo 2 was to just put a layer over it, update the graphics, and boom, you have a modern era ARPG. It's it definitely has withstood the test of time, which is something that not a lot of video games are really able to do. You know, there's definitely some that remain like nostalgic classics. You know, like Metroid, you know, Super Metroid, stuff like that. You know, those games, because it's like a set formula that you can't really get any better at. Well, there's a lot of ARPGs that have tried to do things better than Diablo 2. And, you know, there are definitely some things like the depth of Path of Exile's content, or just the fluidity of Diablo 3's combat systems. There's bits and pieces of other ARPGs that have, you know, done things better than D2, but none have quite hit the full spectrum, at least for me, that like Diablo 2 did. And with the updated graphics, it really makes it like the game that you can just sink weeks, days, you know, just lose track of time into all over again. But yeah, hopefully we'll be going through and getting some new information on that. It continues to remain hopeful. And it also makes me wonder if they're going to do different ladder resets for it. What that could mean. You know, because I guess they might have found that they've hit a really good stride with Diablo 3 and having, you know, 3 to 4 month seasons where you get 3 to 4 ladder resets a year instead of 2. You know, and since I guess they imagine that it's going to be far more popular. You know, Diablo 2 Resurrected is going to be bringing people back and playing the game than what, you know, Diablo 2 currently is, or has been for maybe, say, the last couple of years. That maybe they're, in order to try and keep things fresh, that they will go through and do the, you know, the more often ladder resets. But it could also be that maybe like Diablo 2 Resurrected will go through and just continue those 6-month ladder resets, or that they'll keep like Diablo 2 Classic and push that to like a yearly reset, you know, or something along those lines. Since they've got Resurrected running now, they don't have to keep D2 Classic, you know, running at the current cadence that it is. Well, I'm sure that there will still be people that will play the original Diablo 2, and it's great that they have that capability of doing so. You know, learning from one of their mistakes with, you know, Warcraft Reforged. But I just, from what little I've played, and not even really be able to get into the in-game or anything like that, I could see the vast majority of the player base hopping over to Diablo 2 Resurrected, much how, you know, StarCraft Remastered, you know, was received by its community. But since we don't really have a lot of other information to go through and talk about, I will go at least in, you know, transition over. You know, I'll have my you know, episodic rant about Diablo Immortal. As I said previously, you know, I haven't had as much time to go through and put into Diablo Immortal, and that seems to be kind of the trend. I've noticed a lot of the blasters and hardcore streamers have slowly been transitioning back into, you know, their regular rhythms, their regular games and such, especially with like the Burning Crusade Classic and other things like that launching. We hope that the Diablo 3 season will be coming to an end sometime soon, and so kind of like jockeying and, you know, getting their positions ready, you know, for those end of season ladder pushes. Yeah. The game, still incredible, absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to go through and see what they have next, but we don't know how much longer this alpha is going to last. Obviously, the big test was the Immortal Shadows system with the Cycle of Strife, and we don't really see it too much on the content server, but at least it's having a lot more of an engagement over on the Australian servers, and I'd be interested in seeing like what it looks like over there for, you know, the actual cycles rotating and such, and if they've gotten enough information and they're about ready to go through and close it down and start preparing, you know, for the next and possibly final We don't know. They just said that they have more tests ahead of them than they did behind them, and we still have the 55 to 60 content. We still have Hell, which technically isn't fully confirmed, but the story tells you that's where you're going. So we have the zone of Hell with which to go to, and we have the Necromancer. So there's a lot more to go through, get in there and test. And from the data miners, they were able to find all of the Necromancer items. So we know all of like those legendary affixes and such. So that stuff is in there. It's being worked on. It's just being polished. And we only had to wait a couple of months between the technical alpha and the closed alpha. We might get the second closed alpha, or it might be a closed beta or an open beta. I'm sure a lot of people would love or hope for that one. And we'll have to go and look forward to that. I have to definitely look forward to seeing what they go through. I hope that there is kind of like another wrap up of the things that they learned. We got a little bit of it at BlizzConline, though a lot of it was just reiterating the things that had happened in the technical alpha back in December, then going through and expanding upon the things, their takeaways, from that test. So I would hope that the devs would go through and at least give us a little bit of a peek past the veil and what they have working on or what they're planning with the next step of the alpha or beta, whichever way that the testing goes, or at least the things that they learned. Like we put too much power into the shadow side, so the cycles are flipping too quickly. There's the reward structure for the immortals isn't good enough. We overtuned rewards for adventures. Just something along those lines so that we have a little bit of an idea of what to expect going into the next testing phase. And please, 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 next testing phase, please unlock the Necromancer. Don't make us wait. Don't make me wait. Yeah, we're kind of like at this point waiting to see where it goes and when they eventually will go and shut it down. But we are not just waiting on the end of the Immortal Alpha, we are also waiting on more news from Diablo 3. As Demon Monger was going through and saying in the pre-show, was hoping that we had patch notes by now, and so was I. We're in that time frame. This is it. We're in that final month of the 3-month cadence where around now we'd be getting the patch notes and the PTR. It's already Wednesday, so I don't think that they're going to be dropping any surprises on us, especially with them giving us the patch notes at least a day or two beforehand, or even then just the content getting data mined on the CDNs because they're uploading something and we see the movement, we can read the tea leaves. Maybe next episode, maybe next week, we'll see. So that we might have some heavy content going through and hitting in with the next couple of weeks. And I might say if we do get the patch notes like on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, might go through, hop in, and do an episode in order to jump in there. Especially because the last thing that we're going through and continuing to wait on is the Diablo 4 development blog, which June is the last month in quarter 2. I have seen some posts and some mumbling and grumbling around there that, it's like, oh, our last update was in February and it's been more than 3 months. They said every quarter. Like, that's yeah. They said every quarter. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and so on. Not necessarily that they meant literally every 3 months that they would be going through and doing one. So, but it is June, and we're getting close. It's we don't really have that big of a data cycle to go through and say, because sometimes we've gotten it in the middle of the month. Sometimes we've gotten it on towards the last day. I don't think that we'll be seeing it going into like the week of the 28th. If anything, it'll be dropping either next week or the week after that, or heck, I mean, it could drop tomorrow. We don't know. but I want to say that I want to safely guesstimate that we will probably have the D4 development blog by the time of the next episode. And as with previous development blogs, I will stream my reactions, for the and do like a little mini half episode for when the dev blog hits, just so that way we can go through, see what they've been working on, see what they've got. I'm starting to get to the point where I want to see more gameplay, and this is coming from, we can see them talk about skills and itemization and the passive trees and stuff like that. I would love one of the development blog updates to just be the devs going through and doing like an hour-long live stream, play us through a zone with, a class. Let us see what leveling up looks like. Let us see what, putting those attributes in. Let us see what adding, a skill point or a passive point, and then changing the skills on the fly, traveling around with the mounting and all that other stuff. Let us see it. That's the thing that we didn't get to experience from BlizzConline, is we didn't get to see the game. BlizzCon 2019, a very early look, but people are able to stream it. People are able to get their hands on, touch it, play it, and we haven't had that. And, well, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely jonesing for it. So that's, maybe it's outside of the spectrum of what they want to cover, with the development blogs, but it would be really nice if it's something that they could do as like a special project, just to let us see the game. We got to know more, right? We want to know. The need to know more intensifies, but it's God, it's like, this is just the month of waiting. We're waiting to see where the Diablo Immortal Alpha goes. We're waiting to see when the next round of Diablo 2 testing is going to come up. We're waiting to see the Diablo 3 PTR. We're waiting for the Diablo 4 development blog. It's these 3-month cycles, man. They just building and building and building, and then then we get our shot in the arm. They go through and they give us a good hefty chunk of info. We're satiated for a while, and then a week later, and we're hungry for more. We want more, right? Always more. It's just like the nature of, I guess it's not even really Diablo. It's ARPGs in general. It's a data-driven game. It's all numbers and theory crafting and putting builds and skills, and you're sitting there moving dots on your little calculator and abacus and all that in order to go and find out what is the most efficient, powerful build that you possibly can do in play. But that's why we like it, right? That's why we're all here. That's why you're listening to some random guy on the internet talk about, your favorite game or franchise, or one of your favorite game and franchise. I won't make that assumption. I'll give you your own agency in that one. It's definitely mine. But sadly, that is about it. It's we had a little bit of a late start here on the episode, so it does feel bad going through and only doing a short stream, but we just haven't had too much to talk about, and I unfortunately have been putting a lot of time and stuff into non-Diablo related projects. Next episode, we'll hope that we'll have the patch notes to talk about, the development blog to talk about, maybe even some more rumors going through and popping up about the next phase of the Diablo 2 testing. Who knows? We'll wait and see. Now, also, at least in worst case scenario, I get to talk about my my Warhammer tournament, right? I'm sure everybody will be excited about that one. Tuning into a Diablo podcast in order to listen to me talk about Space Marines and robot space Egyptians and things like that. But I do thank you for going through and joining me here for tonight's episode. And feel free to go through, stick around for the after show, or if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on iTunes or Stitcher, please feel free, go ahead, check out the stream over at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. You can check past VODs and such, where we go through. We usually have a little bit of banter in the pre-show. We have some just like free-ranging topics in the after-show. And you can always go and email any questions, comments, or concerns that you have over to westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com. Again, the email address for the show is westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com. And I do stream every other Wednesday live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, over at twitch.tv/blizzpro. And you can find all these episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, your podcasting platform of choice. And I will upload the videos over to YouTube as well if you want the more clipped, concise episodes. And then if you want to go and follow me, I am Neinball Gamer over on Twitch. And I might stream some Warhammer model paintings occasionally over at twitch.tv/Neinball. And with that, I will catch you all next time.